Good evening and welcome to our show. We're so glad to have you back with us. We love this show and we have so much information for all of you. So as I always tell you, get something to write down information, because if you have any questions, you can't just contact us or call in. So we need you to write down so you can contact the guests, and if you have any questions about anything that we've discussed. And we have some special guests for you today. But my first guest is Tom Axtell. He's the general manager of Vegas PBS. And Tom, just want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be back.
This is fantastic, and I know that we have so much we want to cover. The first thing I want to do is, for anybody that have not seen the PBS magazine, Vegas PBS magazine, this is it. You should be receiving it in your home if you're giving any donations. And I know Tom's going to talk about that, because that's how they survive, by you supporting them. And if you haven't listened to Vegas PBS, probably need to. Tom's going to give you more on that as well. So what can we talk about today for people that may not know that much about Vegas PBS, or they may know something but not enough? And I know you have a lot to talk about.
Well, I think it's really interesting. I've been the manager for 24 years.
Wow.
And during that time, the world has changed. We can all think of, when I started, it was analog TV, the square boxes, and now they're digital television.
Yep.
And when I started, we had one television channel. You might not know it, today we have 12.
Wow.
And when I started, we didn't have the internet in the home.
Okay.
People may have had dial-up from AOL and maybe at 960 baud or something. The idea of high-speed internet was just not something we could think of, let alone television on our phone.
Okay.
And so I've been the manager as we've transformed the image and the idea of what television is.
Okay.
So we have what we call a linear television service, which is from the beginning to the end of a show. And we broadcast it for people who want to watch that in their home at the time we choose.
Okay.
But now almost all of our program is on the internet. You can dial into vegaspbs.org/programs and see things that have been on within the last 30 days.
Oh.
So you want to watch the show we carefully schedule on Tuesday, on Thursday afternoon, you can do that.
Give that again.
vegaspbs.org, that's our website,
Okay.
and then /programs, and it'll get you to a menu, and you can go in and look at the shows. A few of the BBC shows we don't have rights to do that with, but all of the PBS shows or the American Public Television or the NETA shows. So most of our and all of our local shows are available, so you can time shift.
I think that's fantastic.
Well, that's pretty common. And then after about 30 days of free service to the general public, they go on to our service called Passport. Some of the Passport programs go back 3, 4, 5 years. So
Wow.
it's some of the, and if you want to binge watch Victoria, or you want to see 2 years ago of Victoria or something, that will be on there, so you can catch up and then come up to speed with this year's programs. And that's available to members who donate $5 a month or $60 or more a year.
Okay.
So free service for everybody in real time on TV, over the air, with or without cable or satellite. And then the rest of the time it's this new internet. And that's, I think, what's significant. If we look at our children's programs, it used to be, you think of Sesame Street,
right,
and we would broadcast it, and that was it. Well, now we have Sesame Street, but children can watch episodes online, and then we've taken those same characters, and the characters have interactive applications. So on an iPad or Chromebook or some other little tablet, kids can interact not with the program, but with games that are tied to curriculum that help prepare them for school or get them ready for 2nd and 3rd grade reading skills and things like that. Same thing for Daniel Tiger and all of the other programs. So we have social emotional well-being, we have science, technology, engineering, and math. In this market alone, in the whole Las Vegas metropolitan market, which is Pahrump, Mesquite, Laughlin, everybody. We've got 85,000 people who have downloaded applications to their telephone that are ways for their children to do better on certain basic skills they need to succeed in school. That's the new television, where you surround people on all of the electronic mediums. So you have linear television, you have outtakes from shows, you have time-shifted viewing, you have interactive games. In some cases, you look at a Frontline, which is a PBS documentary series.
Okay.
They might take 4 or 5 minutes from an interview with you and me, but they'll show the full 30 minutes online.
Okay.
So you can say, well, I don't want somebody else to edit what Tom Waller says. I want to be able to hear him from beginning to end.
Okay.
And so that's really a revolution in the technology, and we've tried to embrace that to make our service better.
You know, I wanted to ask, how many of you knew everything that Tom just talked about? And I say that because I'm learning something today. I knew it was vast, but I didn't know the vastness of it. And this is just fantastic. Not only is it helping kids, but it's helping everybody.
That's the idea.
And just the fact of the access, you've got it there. And if you miss something because of work or because of a schedule, you can go back and see it later.
That's the idea.
Oh.
And it's interesting, if we look at our children's programs, almost 25% of the viewing of the children's programs is not on broadcast television.
Okay.
Children are dialing in on their own.
Okay.
And if you think of children, a show that's attractive to a 2-year-old, by the time they're 6, they think that's for babies. And so so the 6-year-olds are going to want to watch a different show. They may want to watch Odd Squad, and the little ones want to watch Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood.
Okay.
And it's okay. But they'll go onto that internet, and instead of the sequence that we might schedule, they'll watch a program that appeals to them. Similarly, if we look at programs like Victoria, which is on the cover of the magazine, if people miss an episode, they will go online.
And this is season 3.
This is season 3.
Okay.
But if they missed an episode this week, they could go online and watch it. And these periodic dramas like that episode 1 sets up episode 2 and 3 and 4, we can have as much as 30% of the viewing, according to Nielsen, is from people who watch it as a way of catching up or binge watching.
Okay.
So certain shows have very high internet viewing, and Nielsen is now measuring those. So when we think of our audiences, it's who's going to watch television, who's going to watch online, who's going to look at a mobile phone and watch it on a phone. It's really quite remarkable, the changes in the last 20 years.
I'm just amazed at everything you've covered already. But it's just the fact that I know people are interested. Earlier, and my next guest is going to be Matt Lewis from the town of Pahrump, and he was saying that when PBS goes down, he gets so many calls because so many people are watching.
Yeah, the audience is very high, and I'm very proud to say that of all the PBS stations in the United States in the 56 largest markets, that's from New York down to whoever's 56th.
Okay.
Last year, Vegas PBS had the highest gross rating points, and that's a measurement of the total number of people who watch and the frequency with which they watch, and that grosses up to audience ratings. We had the highest in the United States. And people in this area like the programs. They like independent documentaries.
Okay.
We have a lot of people who work in the performing arts, and they're very interested in arts productions. Lots of science and drama, but nature is really popular. And that's why we have a local show like Outdoor Nevada that really tries to say, what nature and natural resources and experiences can we have in our own state and our own community? And those are popular local shows.
I'm going to ask you something that I know we haven't talked about, but it's something that I saw, and that was in the little town of Shoshone. Now we're talking about outside of Nevada, but it's in California, but it's so close to Pahrump. And in Shoshone, I went there on a tour. Susan brought me over on a tour, and I saw things I didn't know were in Shoshone. When you talk about nature and some of the things that they're doing over there, do you have that on PBS?
We do. I don't know if we did Shoshone, but I looked like in Nye County last year on Outdoor Nevada. We did the Belmont Ghost Town. We did the Lunar Crater Volcanic Field, the grape stomping over at the Pahrump Winery.
Fantastic.
Devil's Hole, the Mizpah Hotel. People at the winery say that there was a tremendous increase in tourism and so on. And what we want is if people know the riches that we have in our state, they're more likely to go out.
Absolutely.
And see it, because there's neat stuff in Nevada, and everyone focuses maybe on the casinos and so on, and there's a value there, but a lot of people love the wide open spaces and the unique character of our geography and geology.
Now, the information you just read from, how can somebody get some of that information?
Well, again, all of these shows are on that website. So if you missed all of Outdoor Nevada last year, you could go to that website, /programs, look at it. And each of the programs has a description. So if you wanted to look up the Belmont Ghost Town, you could go in and look at the program descriptions and see what episode that was. Or you could just call our office and say, where was that segment? Or I want to see the thing on the Lunar Crater before I go take a family visit up there.
If somebody wanted to call, what number would they call?
Our number at the station is 702-799, and for Channel 10, it's 1010. So the last two are pretty easy, but it's 702-799 and then 1010.
Okay, that sounds great. Now, before we go off, we're also going to have the phone number. We're going to have not an email address, but a website. Is that correct?
I believe they've keyed that in, so people at home will be able to see that.
There it is. And this is what we're talking about, because it's so exciting when we talk about Vegas PBS, and we're talking about the fact that the general manager has chosen to drive over to Pahrump just so you can get a chance to see exactly what they have to offer. You already know so many of the things that they're doing already because you're watching it, you're involved in it. So come back and join us in the next session.